Good morning, Steelers Nation. Welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia, my local time of 10:05 p.m. And today we're talking about Russell Wilson. Just before I go to bed, Russell Wilson was on a podcast with Pat McAfee for about 35 minutes, talking about his season, talking about the Steelers, talking about Seahawks and all those kind of things, talking about his career. And right now, as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, myself, you guys, everyone out there, make sure you hit the like and subscribe and all those kind of things. If you want to hear more from this channel, from Steel Nation Oz, right now we're sitting back thinking, what the French toast is going to happen at quarterback? Fields is a free agent. Kyle Allen, the third quarterback, gone. Skylar Thompson on the practice squad, and Russell Wilson as well is a free agent. There is 0 quarterbacks in our depth chart right now. So on the podcast with McAfee, he was asked about talking around coming back will he come back to the Steelers and what's happening. Now, this is via Nick Farabaugh. He says, a Wilson full quote on talks between himself and the Steelers have started. He says, yes, we have started to talk a little bit. Obviously, we've had our meetings, like end of year meetings and season meetings and everything else, and we're just getting into it, right? And the podcast goes on and on and on. I'll try and summarize what I heard from it. Basically, Russell Wilson wants to come back as a Pittsburgh Steeler. He wants to be back in the black and gold. He likes Pittsburgh. He likes the team. He wants to run it back maybe for a year, 2 years, probably, a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract. But what will happen in terms of the Steelers and what direction will they go? This right now, the Steelers have a lot of question marks. Running back, receiver, cornerback, D-line, maybe safety, maybe possibly, there's the offensive line. What do you do with Ciamalo? What do you do with the guard? You bring back McCormick. A lot of question marks in this whole team. But Steeler Nation is like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen at the quarterback position? And myself, for once, even last year with Kenny Pickett, I thought Kenny Pickett was going to stay. Next minute, they went and signed Russell Wilson to the cheap contract. Denver paid most of the money, and then we had Wilson on a team. And then Kenny Pickett was, I think, traded away, or then they got Fields as well. It was all kinds of crazy. We ended up having Fields and Russell Wilson, and Fields went 4-2 in his start, and then went back to Russell Wilson being 6-1 at the start of his journey. Then we lost 5 in a row. It was a crazy season being 10-3. Then it went down, crash super fast, and it all just collapsed. So at that point, do you go with Wilson, the veteran, and end his career or retire as a Steeler for a 2-year contract? Or do you move towards Justin Fields being 26 and maybe you run that RPO style offense that he can do? I watched the game last night. It was the very first game of the season, Steelers versus Falcons, and Fields had about 60 yards rushing. Of course, that was a game where Chris Boswell nailed 6 field goals too, and we won like 18-10, and our defense stepped up. TJ Watt was really healthy and got 3 sacks. But what happens? Do you go that? I have no idea. Do you go towards Russell Wilson, quarterback, and you get him a 2-year contract? He's a veteran, and he's in the moon balls and linking up with George Pickens if they don't trade him away, and get another receiver in the draft, go and get some O-line help? Or do you go the direction of Justin Fields, a younger guy, 3-year contract, maybe a 2-year contract with Fields, see how it goes, and go that direction? I just don't think the Steelers, though, would go and get both again. I feel like you have to make a choice. You need to make a choice on Wilson if you go that direction with, the aging veteran quarterback and building with the team and building with the offense, or you go the younger quarterback being Justin Fields and you see how it goes. And when things break down in the pocket, there's a moment where Fields can run. If things break down in the pocket with Russell Wilson, you probably can't run. But Wilson was also quoted to say this inside the podcast. He says, I love my teammates. The best days are ahead. And for Wilson, he probably should be saying these things because he had a pretty good season with the Steelers. And he's now building that relationship with the receivers, with the O-line. And it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Yes, the collapse was pretty bad. But when he came into his role being 4-2, they went 6-1 and got their team to 10-3. Now, Mike Tomlin was praised for the overall switch. I was happy with it because we're seeing the moon balls to Mike Williams to win the game. There was deep balls going to Pickens and getting the ball to Freiermuth, and Austin was in play. Russell Wilson was on fire. Like, he was playing pretty good quarterback football. he just can't run. He can't run like the old days like he used to. And on the other side, when things break down, Justin Fields had 5 rushing TDs. So I don't know, and let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I don't know what these guys, the Steelers, are going to do. Do you go the veteran guy, the veteran route, Russell Wilson, or do you go the younger route, more mobile, which is like the scheme nowadays, and winning and mobile quarterbacks and Mahomes and the accurate passes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and these guys? It looks like offense wins that way by RPOs and yours, mine, not. It's a running back's not going to run away and get 5 yards. And it's almost like you do a quarterback draw of 11 on 11, and the defense needs to be accountable for the quarterback. And if you don't account for the quarterback, you've got a free runner to get 10, 15 yards. So what do you do? What do you do? Do you go Fields? And this is going to be until the next few weeks in the free agent period, we won't know. Do you go Fields, younger, and you get a contract there for 3 years, or do you go Russell Wilson and he's going to retire as a black and gold member, Pittsburgh Steeler, for the next 2 or 3 year contract? What do you do? I have no idea. I have no idea what Russell Wilson. I know he wants to be a Steeler, but I have no idea what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do. Or they go a complete different direction and they go into the draft. But they need to sign a quarterback before this draft. They need to sign during the free agent period, maybe a receiver, some O-line help, some D-line help. You've got to get some pieces back on this puzzle. Because if you agree or disagree, Mike Tomlin isn't going anywhere. The Jets job is now gone. The other job, I think, for the Bears, now gone with Ben Johnson. So Arthur Smith looks like he's coming back, and he's running it back for his next 2 years. And you have as well Austin as well, the DC. There's been no chatter, no talk around the firing of the DC of him. Now, Mike Tomlin did say there's going to be changes to be had, and we're only like 9, 10, maybe a few 12, 11 days past the loss and into our off season. And really, the true off season doesn't start till after the Super Bowl, which is like 3 weeks time. But right now, I have no fucking idea what the Steelers are going to do. Do they go Wilson on one hand, or do they go Fields on the other? In the comments below, let me know what you guys think.